Welcome back to Calling All Beings, baby. It's DJ, along with... Actually, nobody's here. Okay. hold on a sec. Oh, man. I have the YouTube going. I forgot that the YouTube was up. Here's what's up. I look to my left. I look to my right. I'm in a wing formation here, and there's no one in formation with me. Nathan is still in the UK. Deb is in Orlando. Kevin should be showing up because he wants to talk about music with Sean. Steph is out tonight. But Shane and Allison are supposed to be here, our new phenoms, the young guns, if you will. And also Kevin is supposed to show up as well when he gets home from work. He's on California time, working with those little kids, taking care of their mental health. But for right now, it's just me. That new intro song was done by Charlotte the Thunderbird on Twitter. She's amazing. She has done intro music for Nathan, for Deb, for Cab. She's doing it for my new MotoGP podcast. That's right. That's what's about to go down. And I love you, Charlotte. Anyway, I'm very excited to bring on these two folks. I heard one of the guests here that was on the other one's show. And so that person is Sean Raasch, the Witness Citizen. All of you guys know him. He's extremely popular and very well-known researcher in the biz and somebody that a lot of people look up to, including me. Okay? Another person I look up to is a person who was his guest, who is a humanitarian, which strikes at every part of my bleeding heart that loves people and loves animals and loves the world and loves people from every different culture and loves music and everything else. So there's a lot of love here. I know Sean's probably like, what's going on with this guy DJ, man? He's kind of freaking weird. Okay? And to that I would say, yes, I would say that's fairly accurate. So let's bring in our special guest. I'm very excited to have the first Cab Fireside Chat, even though the beautiful logo that Nathan made up is not up because I'm a technical meathead and usually handles this. This is going to be the first Fireside Chat. So party people, put those hands together for the Witness Citizen, Sean Raasch. Woo! Can I get an amen from somebody up in here?
You need an applause button.
I usually have cabbies clapping.
Otherwise, after that intro, it's just so underwhelming because the intro's so like, and then you come out and there's like two people in the audience.
Well, I know what you were at Lollapalooza. There was a lot more people there. So
I'm quite used to it.
All right, party people, put those hands together for the humanitarian homie, Katie Howland. What's going down?
I like that nickname, the humanitarian homie. I'll take it.
Yeah,
the worst nicknames I've been given. So
me too. The people are the most kind on the show in the Air Force. They're not quite as kind, so that's why I love being here. This part of my personality can come out, whereas at work I have to be repressed. I got to button it all up and act professional. And then when I come on here, I can be the idiot that Sean sees every week. So anyway, welcome, guys.
Thank you.
So in this format, it's an honor to have you guys. In this format, the Fireside Chat, it's meant to be not an interview, but more of just we bring up topics that are interesting. I have an opener, and then I'm just going to riff off of what you guys are saying. I'm never bad at conversation. It's kind of something I'm good at, which is why I started a podcast 12 years ago about MMA. I've been doing this for 12 years, if you can believe that.
Wow.
Not surprising, right? The way that I babble. But
no, that's cool. When I was younger in my later years in high school, I wanted to be a a disc jockey on the radio, but the school I wanted to go to is a little too far and too expensive, and I just wound up working full time instead. So I guess I'm living out my childhood dreams.
Me too.
I didn't think it'd be about UFOs, but
nor did I. But we're doing it.
This is kind of funny. I wanted to be a news anchor, so like between the three of us, yeah.
Oh, wait, Katie, can you just kind of like do a hair flip thing?
I got my little like fan going on right here because it's like 300 degrees with 200% humidity, and I just can't handle it.
Man, is that even possible? 200%?
Feels like it.
It feels like it.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna say cheers to you guys. I don't know who started doing the glass of wine first, me or Vinny, but to Vinny Adams, to Sean, and to Katie. So this isn't meant to be an interview, but I'd be remiss if I'm really interested because I don't know who Sean is as a person in his regular life, and I also don't know. I actually know more about Katie than I know about Sean just from a little interaction on LinkedIn. But Sean, if you would, with whatever you feel comfortable sharing, I know that you're a musician. Which I love because music is like my favorite thing ever. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, I'm a musician. I spent most of my adult life, towards the end of high school and up till a couple of years ago, really playing shows and making songs and doing all that. So I've spent most of my time doing that. Usually just like local shows. I've done a couple like small tours, never became like a big band or anything like that. Just did it for the passion and the creative aspect of it. Don't get me wrong, I would have totally enjoyed being a rich band guy, but it just never happened for me. But so, simultaneously I was always working. So now I own like a small little company where we help like construction companies get to like appointments and business opportunities and stuff. So I do that now, but I'm married. Mm-hmm. I have 2 dogs.
What kind?
38 years old. I love walks on the beach. They're 2 rescues. One is a Sweet Pea. She's like pit bull, American boxer, Weimaraner, and a couple other things. And the other one's a pure American Terrier pit bull, who was a rescue from litter from Hurricane Harvey. So so the mom had some puppies from Hurricane Harvey, and we rescued him. And he farts all the time and tries to sniff Sleepy's butt and eat her food, but he's a good dog. Yeah, great dogs. I have a cat too, Monster. We hate each other, but love each other secretly. So,
hey, I just want to say there's a couple people in the chat. Paranormal Pixie is here. Lara,
what's up, Lara?
Arla, what's up, yo? Elena's here. Arlene is here. I'm sorry, there's nobody to tend to you like Deb. Usually Deb's.
I wore my John Lennon shirt for you.
Yeah. Oh man, did you see? I don't know if you saw. We did the Beatles versus Stones, the British Invasion, and that was so much fun, man. That really was. It was a niche idea, and it really came off. So I'm gonna do another one with U2 is gonna be one of the bands, and I'm thinking of another.
The streets have no name.
Well, I mean, if you're making your Mount Rushmore and you have a band that has the original 4 members since the mid '70s when they were in middle school, and so if I have like Led Zeppelin, the Stones, the Who, and the Beatles, well then I could see maybe swapping out the Who for U2 just based on the longevity. I don't know what you think about that, Sean.
Oh, I'm more of a Who guy, only because the first time I got high in high school was to the Who's Bob O'Reilly, and we had turned the speakers up in my friend's parents' house, and they started smoking. Like smoke was coming from the speakers. I remember it still. And it was like ever since then.
You sure?
Give me the Who. Yeah, good question. But yeah, I was going to say the other guys corroborated the story, but they were high too, so I don't know.
But I think an argument could be made based on the amount of influential music, the fact that like the Edge alone, his guitar playing is extremely distinct. He created his own sound that he didn't copy off of anybody else. And so I think there's an argument there. I'm not going to make the argument because I love both bands, but I don't know who's going to. I would like to do, I get to discuss this with Nathan, the next British invasion, I would like to do the Who versus U2. And then have two teams of Who, 4 members of the Who, 4 members of U2. And
you could throw the Guess Who in there and really confuse people.
Yeah, but that's not Mount Rushmore. Great music. I mean, I could name 100 bands that I love. Bowie. I mean, Bowie could be against somebody.
Sure.
Like Bowie is. There's nobody like Bowie. You could do Bowie and Peter Gabriel almost, but Bowie.
Bowie and Prince.
Bowie and Prince. There you go. Thank you, Sean. I'll write that down, and I'll give you credit when we do that show. Okay.
Yes.
I want to say one thing to you, though, before we go to Katie. I want to thank you for being a musician and creating. I look at that. I said this to UFO thinker Frank. For those of you who don't know him, he's kind of like extended cab fam. Frank, who has this show in the UK called UFO Thinker. And he's had a lot of great people on. And he said, gee, I wish I would have been able to join the military. I have a lot of physical issues. I said, you are in service. And, Charlotte's out there teaching people to make music. You're making music. Frank is out there teaching people to play the drums. And he's like you. He's been on tour, playing the drums. And actually shared some of his drum work with me, which was, people on Twitter haven't heard it, but I have. So I love listening. And he's actually like played the drums and just put it on Signal. So you guys are in service, and thank you for your service for bringing art to the world. That's something that we need as much as any military person. Katie, my friend.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
What's up, man? Tell me.
What do you want to talk about?
I want to hear about you, Holmes.
Who are you?
Yeah. Go ahead, sing it, Sean.
And then you need the owl animation coming through.
I guess I'm an accidental UFO Twitter joiner. Didn't really intend to end up here, but that's what happens when you are open on social media about things you're doing in your life. I guess I'm a humanitarian aid worker. Yeah, getting paid very little to do really hard work. It's awesome. I've done a lot of work with like refugees and survivors of genocide. I got held up by a child soldier at one point. Like I've had some really cool experiences. Yeah, South Sudan. Jeez. That was intense. But no, I've been like kind of secondarily involved in politics my whole career as well. Mainly like internships and volunteering and things like that. And that's kind of how I ended up here. I was volunteering on the Biden campaign. Yep, I'm a liberal, deal with it. And John Podesta recommended me read. I know, like I'm like at the worst place in the world for this. I know. But John Podesta recommended we read Leslie Kane's UFO book, and a lot of reading later, I ended up here. So it's kind of cool. It's been really interesting. Outside of UFOs and UAP.
You call whatever the hell you want.
And humanitarian stuff. No, I like to vintage thrift. I run like a vintage resale thing on the side, so I have them filled with like 1950s decor. We got some extra Pyrex, hit a girl up. And yeah, like I don't know. Like I have a very riveting social life, composed mainly of bugging Sean and Jay on Twitter. And I have a puppy. I am married. I have a puppy who is a psychotically needy schnauzer. And you'll see me talking a lot about LGBTQ issues, because I'm a member of that community as well. I'm trying to think, what else? I'm a Pisces.
Yeah, nice. Me too.
I'm Aquarius.
Big, smushy heart. Yeah, that's about it. I don't know.
But it's my age. as an Aquarius.
Oh, my age? How old do you think I am?
No.
This is the sing it, Sean. Let's go.
I'm an Aquarius. It's my age.
This
Oh,
is
you're
the
Aquarius.
dawning of the
Dawning
age.
I don't know
Age of
how
The
to
fifth
words,
dimension.
But I am
That's-
an Aquarius. Yeah.
It shows the age gap between me and you guys. I'm 55. And you can see I'm really mature and I don't have any energy at all.
Maturity's overrated.
Yeah, Katie, I want to say I have a comment and a question regarding the work that you do. It's way too earlier in our friendship for me to say I love you, but I love you because of what you're doing.
Oh.
And the
Okay.
question and the question is UFO Twitter. Has it ever made you think about cutting yourself, like taking a razor blade, and because it's done that to Sean, myself, and the rest of us. So I don't know if you're.
Look, the amount of people who have asked me if I'm a fucking hybrid, like I'm gonna lose my shit. I don't know what's wrong with my eyes, apparently, but like I hear this a lot. Like I think my eyes are pretty average. Like I even made a joke recently that
Are
Sean
you?
and I were coming to talk about our hybrid status,
Yeah.
and I got
my
so many
DM box.
messages being like, "Thank you for your courage."
Yeah.
Yo,
Courage.
if you are going
I got a
down
lot
that
of people
road,
ask me if they
like
can
get
plug
into
me in somewhere.
therapy. I'm sorry, but like if someone says we're going to announce that we're hybrids and share all of the mysteries of the universe, and your reaction is yes, finally.
It means we didn't do it soon enough.
Actually, I want to say
Like,
this. I
can I
want to
ask
say
you
this.
your credit card number? Like, what kind of power can I wield here? Because I'm
Katie,
very interested.
I think you're in a really good place because I had an experience with the phenomenon whereby, abducted, and I offered my DNA and they said, no, thank you, and dropped me off. And,
Wow.
They're like, we're good.
yes. I mean, I was kind of hurt. I've never shared this.
Did you shower that day?
Yes, I did. I mean,
Oh,
I put
good.
on my CK1. I don't know what
They
happened.
were
They
like,
still
asking
make
if
that?
the abduction was a mistake. Please go back.
yeah, drop me.
Do they still make CK1? Yeah, okay.
The reason I
By
do
the way,
that is
not
because
trying to minimize like experiencers here. I'm an
No,
experiencer myself.
I
But you
know, I'm
gotta
kidding.
like draw the line somewhere, guys. Like let's reel it in back to reality a little bit.
Yeah, everybody that watches the shows knows that I have fun. I have an experiencer as part of the show. A couple of experiencers on this show. Deb, actually three, Steph and Kevin. Nathan and I are the outliers, although I have had a sighting as a child in New York. Child meaning like 15. But no, I mess around. I have a self-deprecating.
Don't do
humor,
the
so
mess
that's where I come
around.
from.
That's another
Yeah.
song.
So, all right. So I'll let you ready to get into UAPs before Lara fires me or Benji or somebody. All right.
Do it.
So, okay. So Sean probably has some sources on this. I haven't dug, but I assume that we're going to have hearings fairly soon. What do you expect to come out of that, each of you guys, and then?
Sean, I'll let you take that first.
Okay. I have no idea if there's going to be hearing soon. I don't have any secret sources, but I pay attention to Chris Sharp, Liberation Times. That's a good person to watch. And
My
I
boy.
saw him just say something about maybe September, but it's going to be more important for them to get some immunity language written and passed as law, and it would be after that where you'd get anything, good stuff to come out of the hearings. So I don't know. Hopefully that happens. It's really easy to take. I find it's really easy to take for granted when stuff happens in UFO Twitter land, whether it be hearings or a piece of news that Corbell comes out with or whatever, because it could easily just like go silent and we'd have nothing like that to talk about. How I'm so I'm always afraid that that's going to happen, to be quite honest with you, but I hope that doesn't happen. I hope we have hearings. We need to have hearings. The last hearings sucked, and I think we need more than that. And it's just unfortunate. I'd like to get to a place where experiencers are taken seriously and into account, because, all we've heard about really that taken seriously since the late 40s has been military encounters, which are important, but there's so much more to this, and we just can't get there until we get over a certain hump. So I just hope we do that quick.
I would just caveat that with that. I would say that we know of, because we don't know how many people they've taken testimony from, not the least of which was Stan Friedman. Also, there's so many, I don't want to say the word experiencers, but so many sightings and so much footage that they've probably heard narratives of, seen film and or snapshots of, that they're probably like, we're good on, it's here.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
We made legislation, so that tells you we believe it's here. Now, so do they need to hear about my experience from New York in 1982? Probably not, because they already believe it's here. So
sure.
I'll say that. Katie, and would you like to tackle that, my dear?
Yeah, I mean, I echo a lot of what Sean said. I think what's probably happening right now, I would guess, and this is kind of putting my former lobbyist hat on, is that a lot of the air is being sucked out of the room with the January 6th hearings. And with everything going on with the Supreme Court, I think there's just going to be a lot of political attention elsewhere, to be honest, regardless of where you fall on these. I also think that paying attention to the legislative calendar will matter. I mean, we have midterm elections in November, and so there's not going to be really much I wouldn't expect anything like in between elections and the end of the year. But it's possible, depending on how the elections go, that like we might get shakeups of committee assignments or things like that. Just so, basically what I'm trying to say is that the personalities involved might shift. Essentially how members of Congress get assigned committees is by both seniority and request. So a committee like the Intelligence Committee is very, popular. So like you can't come in as a freshman congressman and be like, I want to be on the Intelligence Committee.
It's like not happening.
Maybe you have
came
an
out of
intelligence
Intel
background, or you have a lot of bases in your district or things like that. So I haven't looked at, frankly, the committees and seeing who might be vulnerable or not. That might be a good thing to do. But if we don't hear about it by, September, I would just assume it's not happening this year.
That's great. That's great for the audience out there. And what Katie's saying is look to September. If you haven't heard about hearings within, let's say, we're sitting at the beginning of July, August, by sometime 2 months and change from now, it's probably not going to happen based on her experience on the Hill. I will say just for your, yes, ma'am.
Well, I've been proven wrong before. So
no, but
call it gospel.
Everything I ever say should be caveated with, I could be wrong.
Screenshot this in October and drag me.
You told me. Yeah.
He's so funny. Sean's humor. People don't talk about Sean's humor, but that's something that struck me. And you're really funny, very witty. So,
thanks, man. Back at you, brother.
Thank you.
And devastatingly handsome as well, both of you.
Thank
you. Thank you. I get it together. You remind me of Chris Farley, where just another heart attack.
Another
number 6. Yeah. Number 6.
I totally copied that. I love you, Chris Farley. I totally plagiarized that. I should have cited my sources in MLA format. Anyway, so, I just want to say for your benefit, the two of you, because a lot of the audience knows me and my background, and actually Katie does as well. I'm a government guy. I work for the Air Force. I'm retired Air Force, and I will not openly, but I'll say on here, obviously they've lied to us since 1947, and it pisses
Thanks for
me
your
off.
service, man.
I was happy they took me. They had mercy and said, we'll take them. What the hell? But I'm just as angry about that as you, Sean. I will try to understand why something is being done. And something that Katie just alluded to, she talked about January 6th. She talked about what's going on in the Supreme Court. She talked about midterms. So for the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, CQ Brown, he's looking at, oh shit, I'm out of Afghanistan, I'm out of Iraq, but now Russia just invaded Ukraine, and that's a completely different type of warfare that I have to prepare my forces for. And now China is emboldened and being aggressive towards Taiwan and its neighbors, so that's a totally different enemy than Iraq was. So if you ask him about UAPs and he were in a private moment, not on camera, probably say, I don't give a shit about UAPs right now. I prepare about how we're going to adjust course to deal with a non-permissive flying environment, which those two prior countries were, and these two countries have massive integrated air defense. Anyway,
well, it depends, right? It depends. Like, if that's the answer, I can't say that would be the wrong answer or anything, but that would help me learn a little bit about the situation. To me, that would mean that maybe UAPs aren't really a national security threat, and maybe there isn't that big of an emergency here if other things can take precedence. And, the world stage is on fire for sure. One thing I always think of, though, when stuff like this comes up is this beautiful quote Ross Coulthart said on my show, which is, you know what? It's never going to be a good time. There's always going to be something.
No, I agree. But to understand that, Sean and Katie, you have to understand the first part of my statement, which was they lied and it pisses me off.
Yeah.
But then I'm going to say I can disagree with what they're doing and try to understand what they're doing. It's just like for Katie, you can understand your opponent and you can disagree with them. But if you don't understand them, then you're fucking nowhere. So I have to understand why he's doing what he's doing and why he's not focused on this. And I'll disagree with him at the same time, but I understand, which is important in anybody that you disagree with on anything to an extent.
I have a hard time thinking the Air Force is the only branch to blame in this situation as well, to be quite honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
So I think they take the brunt of it because of Project Blue Book, and they've had it for so long and have released some misleading statements during that time. But in my research, I've seen that just about every branch has had their hands on the UFO kitty at one time or another, whether it's DIA, NSA, CIA, which is who I personally am most suspect of at this point, Army, Navy. But it all leads kind of back to one place, really, and that's the DO-frickin-D.
Or the DO-frickin-E.
Yeah.
And just to put another layer on top of it, if you were to go and look in some of the unclassified publications that talk about what the Coast Guard's mission is to Homeland Security and when they're activated to the Secretary of Defense, what is the United States Navy's mission to the Joint Staff, the National Command Authority, SecDef, etc.? What is the U.S. Air Force's mission to the aforementioned? What is the Marine Corps' mission? What is the Army's mission? Well, what the Air Force's mission is that's different than all of those that I just mentioned is air superiority from the United States over the United States and and I've read this in regs. I could throw it up there because it's not classified. It's just this is what our mission statement is. And their mission statement is we own the skies. And Katie, Sean, and myself know, no, you don't. Because the UAP can fly anywhere they want. But you don't go up to your boss and say, yeah, boss, I know we're great, got a great Air Force, but yeah, there's shit out there. We got nothing for these things.
Well, and I think that brings up a really important point, right? And it harkens back to understanding what else is going on right now. When I was a lobbyist, I worked with a lot of people that I didn't agree with. But one of the important things you do is you figure out what does everyone care about, and then you cater your argument to that, right? Sure. I was trying to get increased funding for malaria. I didn't give a shit why someone agreed to do that. If they wanted to do it because service members overseas were getting malaria, great. If they wanted to do it because they cared about kids in sub-Saharan Africa bleeding heart, great. Didn't matter to me. At the end of the day, the result was the same. And I think sometimes we need to think about UAP stuff in this same light. And we all have our personal reasons, be it whether we're experiencers or we're military members or, you name it, that we're interested in UAP. But if we're trying to focus on how do we move the ball forward, we have to understand how people think. We have to understand what their primary motivations are. And first and foremost, it's getting reelected. So if you can make a big enough stink and make a big enough amount of phone calls on the same day to an office, I'm telling you, that's what's going to move the needle, and keep it going forward and not let it just fizzle like Sean was mentioning earlier.
I love the same day idea there. You know, everybody
Yeah,
do it on
I
the
thought
same
about
day.
we need to have days of action, because I mean the way it works on the Hill, they basically just tally calls they get on certain issues. An intern or a like entry level associate tallies, and at the end of the week, the member gets a list of these are the issues and these were the pros and the cons. And if you don't have a big amount on the same week, it's just, I mean, you can call your member every week. It's not going to have a huge impact. So
if it's
if we can get
3
someone
1 month, 3 another week, and they're all
right,
split
then
up and
okay.
around. Right?
Yeah,
Then you have
it's
these
not going
big
to even
issues going on. Yeah.
Right. So
I'll
if we
tell
can
you
find like community days where we coalesce, that would be incredible.
I'll tell you a suspicion I had that I'd like to run by you, because you're actually an expert in it and I'm not. But I know how the government, I tell people there's basically 99%, more than 99% of the phenomenon. I'm just looking for answers, listening to theories, and trying to absorb what's going on and try to figure it out with everybody. The two things that I do know are the aviation aspect of what I look at, or when I hear a narrative from a verified source of what a craft did, I know what I'm looking for, that it would be anomalous or not anomalous. The other thing is I know how the government works, because I've got like 30 years in it. But I would ask you, I've told people that this UFO symposium that happened and these other events that happened, and the UFO symposium in Utah that Steph was part of, was extremely well attended and streamed. They got a lot of streams, they got a lot in attendance. And I told them I believe that people on the Hill look at that those metrics, when they look at the UFO Twitter metrics of how many people are hashtag UFO Twitter, they go back to the boss, those staffers, and say, man, you know, we got this thing coming up, and this is how much traction is getting online. This month, we've had 3 or 4 of these events, and this is how many people attended. Does that happen, or is that all in my mind? Or I'm guessing, but does that happen?
When I interned on the Hill, we tallied 3 things: number of emails or letters, phone calls. Actually, I guess 4 things. Social media mentions, like direct, like if you were saying like, at so-and-so on Twitter or whatever, and op-ed placements. They do look at, like, if you have a community paper in your district, write an op-ed. It doesn't have to be great. Get a good writer friend to help you edit it. Those are the 4 things they track. Now, after that, they might start looking at, okay, once they realize, hey, a lot of my constituents care about this, then yeah, they might start looking into other things. But I think
coming up to the vote,
the others.
Yeah, I mean, when you're coming up to a vote and all these members are on committee, and we're going to be talking about, so in advance of the NDAA, and then when we had the hearings, I was thinking all those staffers are looking at the metrics on UAPs, because my guy or gal is about to go on the floor and discuss it. So I figured they would know at that point. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
And in advance of the NDAA, voting yay or nay. No? Maybe.
I mean, it depends on the staffer, right?
Okay.
Different staffers have their pet issues too. So some staffers may be interested in UAP, some may not. Request a meeting. You're not going to meet with the senator or the member of Congress. You'll meet with a staffer, but request a meeting. You don't have to be an expert. They're not going to quiz you. They're not going to make you feel dumb, but tell them that you take this issue seriously, and that you're going to vote based on this issue. Because
me and Sean are going for a meeting, baby. Let's go. We're going.
Yeah, just handcuff them to a chair until they agree to send you straight to the senator, right?
I mean, like, slightly illegal, but I mean, doesn't mean it's not effective. It worked in Parks and Rec.
This is important. It's fine.
All right, Sean, what's your topic, man? Give me a topic so we can get off of this congressional stuff. What's interesting this week?
What's interesting this week to me is how about the James Webb Telescope?
Just clue me in, because I've been way too busy to
I was
check it out. What's
hoping
up?
you knew about it.
No, I don't.
No, I'm just kidding. No, but
Nothing.
they,
Death
well,
stands
they're
Soderstrom.
they're putting out new photos on July 12th with this thing. That's like the Hubble on steroids, right? And they just had somewhat of a teleconference. I think it was yesterday or something. And they made some pretty big comments about this one guy who's saying, when he saw the pictures, he got a little emotional. He says it may change like a worldview, and not just for us, like here at NASA, but for everybody, and it'll go out to billions of people on July 12th. And then some people are saying, well, they always kind of say this thing when they're doing something. But my rebuttal to that is, not that I have a pot to piss in, so to speak, on it, but it's, he made a point to say it won't just be like that for us. It'll be like that for everybody. So for me, that means that it may be something more important this time around. Does that mean I think that they found like life or anything? No, but I think what this telescope is doing is giving them way to better put forth an analysis on if an exoplanet will have life more concretely than is possible now, with like a spectrum of the exoplanet, which basically shows all the different molecules and different signatures coming off the planet. They'll be able to see. They won't be hindered by like things like clouds and such. So that'll be pretty interesting. And he also said, one of the guys said something like the nature is unveiling some of its secrets, and you'll be able to see the universe in a way you've never seen it before and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting. Robert in the chat, what's up, man? He said,
Yeah, Robert.
he said the aliens will see it, didn't he? No, he said the billions will see it, but it did sound like he said aliens, and I even had that thought.
Hey, even
But
Dr. Evil had to be
billions.
corrected on that, so.
Yeah. 1 million billion aliens. Yeah. No, so that could be exciting, and they're just trying to look back to the beginning of everything, so that's pretty cool. And it went so well that they are expecting 20 solid years of research with it too, which is really good, because I think the estimations were quite a bit lower at first. So
I'm very excited. That is really exciting if there's life. But I want to give Katie a chance to a comment on this, because again, this is an open forum, man. I'm not doing interviews here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to it. I had a friend who worked on James Webb as an engineer, and I just think it's fascinating. I know she might be one
Give
of my
us
first
the leaks.
podcasts.
Give us the leaks. Give us the leaks.
I don't have
Give
any
us some
leaks.
data.
I pretend like I do to make myself feel more important, but I really don't. No, I have I'm just gonna like dangle all this shit. Make you think I'm more important than I am.
Yeah.
No,
She knows how to get invited back on this joint, man.
I have a friend that knows everything. So
I know how to play the cards here.
He knows where the bodies are.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Period.
but I feel like I always come across as a pessimist in these things. I think it's going to be incredible.
Just don't.
And I think
No, I'm the yoga teacher here. Be authentic to yourself.
being authentic to myself, I think it's going to be something mind-boggling, kind of like the pale blue dot, right? Like where it's our
Except
first
red
opportunity
this time.
as a species to see like what our universe looks like. And I think that in itself is mind-blowing and world-changing and view-changing. Yeah, I don't know about the other stuff. It'd be cool. But I think that just the fact that we are getting these images, very frankly, is insane.
Yeah, but
I mean,
we
this
won't
is
really know, right? Until we see it.
right.
And I think pretty quick we'll be like, or oh.
Who is that?
A little grain of sand like could have taken it down, and we're getting photos is, like, I'm not very religious, but like a miracle. Like, let's just be real. We have this thing hurtling through space. We have no idea what was going to happen. So I think it might make people realize like if you look at the pale blue dot, right, it makes you realize kind of how small you are, how insignificant you are, how much our petty differences don't matter as much. So I look at it more in like that like esoteric aspect, but I would love to be wrong. I would really love to be wrong and for Sean to be right and there be this like incredible analysis of the exoplanets. I think that would be baller.
Well, I could be very wrong. So
well, I want to say I know I have researched and figured out what Oumuamua's intention was when it was here. I know Sean doesn't know, but I think he's going to be excited when he hears about it.
Oh.
Oumuamua was here because Sean was doing a solo at the Anchor Inn in Buffalo, where they have the famous chicken wings, and they came in for a closer look, have a listen, and then they rolled out. And everybody's making it like something really wild that happened, and that's all they were here for, was just that.
And they went dark, and they were like, "Wow, we came all the way here for this."
Well, no, they went
longer than most humans do.
Is he having the honey barbecue, or is he going for the 3 Mile Island hot? Like, so is he doing blue cheese? Is he doing ranch? So has he got so I think they were interested in all these things that you were doing. The carrot sticks in the celery, or were you just, nope, I'm naked.
Yeah, I was going naked dry, and they were like, let's get out of here.
Audi 4000.
Naked dry rub.
I feel like this planet isn't ready.
I mean, he has no sauce on his wings. We're leaving. But no,
I have
seriously.
stomach problems.
I figured out Sean is as silly as I am. Like, he comes off like he's a serious researcher. He's as much of a goofball as me, man. We can get serious when we have to, when it's required by law. But no, honestly, the most interesting thing that you said there, Sean, was signatures. You know, that there's certain things that we're looking for that would indicate that there could be water. There could be, the elements that would make up oxygen, the elements that would make up water, and therefore life. Same thing that they're hoping to find on Mars. So if Oumuamua sees an exoplanet that has those markers, that changes everything.
Right. And like, what the hell does an alien signature look like? Do they write in cursive?
I think it's Cyrillic characters like the Russians do. I don't know. So,
like, here's a good point, though. Like, would we even recognize a signature? Right? Sean and I were just talking about this, like, today on Twitter about communication. Like, do we even recognize communication when we see it? Because communication isn't just, us talking here or writing. Would we even recognize what these signatures are? I mean, for all we know, they're like screaming into the void for us to wake up and look up, and we're just, happy.
And we're eating dry.
Like, Sean, don't
dry
eat
rub
him
wings.
dry, man. Get a sauce. And he's there. He's put his guitar down.
Did you say something? No. I thought I heard something. No.
Damn it, I'm hungry.
Bring me an ashtray.
Yeah, that's true. That's a great point. I mean, like I posted that plant video or whatever, and it's just so interesting that plants have their own communication, and they have,
through the root system.
Yeah, and it's like most people I never even really took the time to think about that, and so we're thinking about like aliens, something from a different planet. Like, and how it would communicate, or like, who are we to even begin to fathom how that would go?
Well, can I?
But
can
it
I
could
say
be.
something?
Wouldn't that be funny if it was just like humans? So no, we're just like you. What's the big deal?
Hey there, Bob. No, but I want to say something. I want to say that because I have a pet peeve about Neil deGrasse Tyson. We can assume.
Join the club.
We can assume anything. We can say, well, gee, I wonder what their communication's like. Whether I eventually could understand their form of communication or not. And by the way, I'll just throw in here right now, David Mason was on the show from A Tear in the Sky. And he is trying
Super smart.
This is going to make Sean interested. What he's done is he's taken whale sounds out in the wild and converted those sound waves into light waves. Yeah. And with that, he is
Sean, can you make that sound again? Sorry. I know it's a very serious topic. I just had
No, that's good. That's good. I don't know why he bothered paying money to get those signals from the NOAA when he could have got it from Sean. But seriously,
mic right here, and I can just hit record, baby.
Yeah,
$30 a sound.
David Mason, if you're watching, or Dave Altman, your brother from another, put him in touch with Sean Raasch. He can help you out.
Yeah, but seriously,
Dude,
so he's recording the whale sounds, and what is he doing with them?
I think he's getting the sounds. He wouldn't tell us, but I suspect he's getting them from the NOAA. He kind of alluded to it because he wanted whales to be happy, not Shamu, but whales that are in their natural environment, communicating, getting those sounds. And then he's able, so, you have a frequency.
So the aliens are like, it sounds freaking fun over there. Let's go.
I mean, basically, his purpose is, he wants the phenomenon that he is broadcasting these light waves to say, oh, look at these people. They're taking a less advanced form of life on their planet and featuring them to us to show a benevolence. Right, exactly. So that's when he said that on the show, I was
the
like,
UAP just come to the whales and bypass us entirely.
Yeah.
And we're out. Right. Like now they're down there having a tea with the whales.
Yeah. They're like, oh, what? Man, lucky you're in this ocean because it sucks up there on land. Those people are just sure. Yeah.
Piss poor humans. No,
they're always looking at these screens. They never talk to each other. They're always hitting buttons.
Texting. Fuck that. I hate texting. Texting is my least favorite form of communication. In person's number one. What's that?
Beeping? Beepers?
What is beeping? Oh, I mean, that was during my drug dealing days, so I don't really even remember, really.
I still have a pager.
Hold on. Do you seriously still have a pager that you actively use?
Yeah. I have.
Okay, but is it for business?
Why would anyone even use a pager for business anymore?
I don't know if you're like an ER doctor.
I don't have a pager. I don't have a pager. No, but when I was a kid, there was a store by my house. I ride my bike there, and they had these like fake pagers, but they weighed like they felt real, but they were completely fake. And the guy would just give me one, and I'd walk around with the pager like it really worked, but it didn't. Yeah.
That would be such a great
early Sean.
That would be such a great gag, though, to be out at like Starbucks and there's a lot of people in there with their tech and they're emailing.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden your pager goes off and you're like, oh, man, it's Bree. I got to give her a call.
911.
1-1. What have that information?
420.
I just want to say, Nathan, I thought I'd be able to keep this from going off the rails, and I failed miserably. Katie, it's your turn to bring up a topic, buddy.
Oh, damn. I mean, we've already covered like the core issues of wing
pagers,
dressing, pagers.
But somebody mentioned they were an experiencer. Experience A.
I mean, you want me to talk about being an experiencer? I can do that. I mean, I've had experiences my whole life, man, being from like everything from like precognition to out-of-body experiences, being apparitions, that kind of stuff. And I'm not ready to like fully talk about it yet, but I had my first, I guess, more UAP-related experience recently. So it's an interesting world, and I definitely take validity in people's stories, and I think other people should too. It's not just military members having these experiences. Like, why are they valid, but then the average public's not? It's kind of ridiculous.
Well, it's not. Well, both those things aren't true. The public is valid, and the military experiences are valid. The only difference is that when you talk about trained observers, and sometimes people have been through a certain amount of screening or whatever, you can say, okay, they're a little more lucid. I mean, I know maybe a couple of military experiencers, and most of them are civilian. And I've had people who have told me experiences that I know a lot of people wouldn't believe about in-person interactions with the phenomenon, and I totally believe them. Being in a craft, and I believe there are some that I don't believe, but there are some that I do believe, and none of those people are military. It has nothing to do with that. It's a feeling you get, like your precognition. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Please.
I mean, have any of you guys, like, I had the experience of like going off, like whenever I have experience going to my therapist, because I'm a big fan. I think everyone should have a therapist, like regardless, just in life. And where I've gone to my therapist and been like, am I losing it? And when your therapist goes, I don't think so, that's when you're like, oh damn, you know, like,
Yeah.
that's pretty wild. But Sean, I know
Yeah, 'cause
you're much more versed in this world than I am. I'm kind of new to it.
Not really. I mean, I've had like a couple, maybe 3 to 5 months worth of experiences where I was having kind of a lot of them in that short amount of time, and then after that, it's like that could be something, but I'm not sure, But I've had one for. And it all started with like one major experience where I saw something 13 feet in front of my face, a big white plasma rotating thing.
Holy shit.
That
big was it?
light came over my shoulder first, and it followed that trajectory. There it was. It looked like it was in slow motion. And then I had a dream that I had come true that I had years earlier about getting in a huge argument with my father, which was just a really odd dream to have because I couldn't think of any reason for us to get like that, So, I remember when I had that dream, it stuck with me all day, and I was like, why would we ever do that? Like, because it was like
what?
fight, a really bad fight. I had a dream with that. My father and I had a really bad fight, and that's just seemed kind of impossible to me at the time. So a couple of years later, I see the thing I talked about, and then we have that fight. So the dream comes true, and there's reasons why we had it, but I won't get into that because the story gets to be too long. But so that happened, and then a couple of days after that, I see the same thing again, and so I'm
Wow.
just like, what is all this about? I remember during the fight too, it was like in slow motion, and I felt like outside of my body, and it's like he's throwing low blows at me, and it's just pretty bad. And I'm like, it was just an incredible, weird time. And after that, I saw some red like orbs with my wife, who saw them first on her way home. Called me, said, "You want to see something weird? Go in the backyard." And I go in the backyard, and here they come right over our house. So all this is at my house too, which is super weird. And she's not really she's not at all into the UFO thing. So when she texted me that, I was like, this is probably pretty weird then.
Red flag.
Because
Yeah.
both of you were experiencers, I have a question. I'm going to pose the same question to both of you because we got about 7 minutes left to the end of the broadcast, and I want to get to these. And I'll just because Sean finished talking, I'll start with you, Katie, and then go to Sean.
Deal.
After my experience, the thing that's different after my experience is ...
Well, like I mentioned, I've had experiences my whole life, but I think that I like segmented them in my brain, right? Like, yeah, I'd always seen like apparitions and stuff. Yeah, I'd had these few things, but like my brain, like my point of view, which was, pretty atheist, rational, science-based, right? Just couldn't deal with it. And so I think recently getting into this world and this community has forced me to kind of confront some of that. And as I've confronted it, I've had more experiences. And I think really the biggest thing that's changed since I've had that mind shift is just being kicked in the ass with realizing that, my perception of reality and philosophy and life after death and what life is and consciousness and everything is just changed. So I think it's really just comes down to humility, right? Like recognizing that like I thought I had it all figured out and I got nothing figured out. And I think it's made me a more empathetic person too, because I'm much less quick to judge other people now, be they of a certain belief system or sharing that they had a certain experience. I kind of default to believing people and then evaluating from there. Whereas before right. I was kind of like, prove it, and man, that's been humbling. to kind of get your self-assuredness taken away. But I think it's also exciting, right? It's offered a lot of avenues for new possibilities. So
as a 55-year-old, I like to tell people it's great to not have decided everything yet. I don't know everything. I don't have a position on everything yet. And my goal is that the day that I'm either going to the, I die and they throw me in a cremation thing or throw me in the pine box, whatever the hell ends up doing, probably the former rather than the latter, that I'm learning up until that day and evolving and changing. I've told people recently, in the last couple of weeks, I've changed my position on the confluence of UAP and paranormal and, the gifting. I did not believe, or I did not agree with Jacques Vallée's theory of gifting. I spoke to somebody in government that in intel that I trust knows. And he told me the person that he said, not only were we gifted something, but that they came and took that thing back, that craft back. And I said, how sure are you of this person that relayed this information to you? And he said, I trust him with my life. So that's that. So my whole theory about gifting isn't a thing was wrong. So we're always learning. I'm 55 years old. Hopefully when I'm 75, I'm saying the same thing. Sean, after my experience, this is what's changed, ...
My phone became full of screenshots of documents.
So as a result of it, you're like Max McCabe. You're all in. And yours is it's research.
Yeah, research for sure. Like, it was kind of different. Was my experience also happened around when everything shut down because of coronavirus. So, my life changed, and for two reasons, really. First, it was coronavirus. Everything shut down. And then the experience, which sometimes I think about it, I'm like, that's kind of a good thing because I needed something to focus on, because I was like, I couldn't play out anymore. Like, I had all these vinyl records I had just bought for an album I made. I couldn't sell them. I couldn't play shows. And I was like, just down in the freaking dumps, man. And then this happened, and it kind of distracted me from that and gave me a focus and gave me something, it sounds depressing, I guess, but to live for, is researching that mystery and trying to figure it out. And boy, like, it didn't take too long for me to find enough actual documents for me to realize that I was not insane. And this has happened to a lot of people. And, at that point, you're just like, wow, what the frick? I cannot believe this. Because I'm definitely make fun of the ghost show guy, where they're always like, oh, did you hear that? Did you hear that? That's all crap, and, UFOs, like, yeah, UFOs. No, like, I did watch Unidentified, and I thought it was fun, but for entertainment, I was still like a skeptic. Really, not like a talk crap about it and kind of skeptic, but it's like, it's fun, but I don't really take it seriously, and then that happened. It's like, whoo, boy, it's real. So
yep. As Lou says, it's not whether or not they're here. We're way past that now. It's why are they here, and what is their basically what is their purpose, and who are they? But yeah, exactly. Yeah. But whether or not they're here, I'm not even, when people try to bring that up, I'm not even entertaining that. That's been proven. And the fact that Congress made legislation means that, there's
it's a conspiracy to think otherwise at this point.
Well,
right.
I don't even want to paint it. But, you got the Mick West out there. They're going to find a thread to pull on that will ultimately be meaningless. It's time to say I can't believe it's already been an hour.
Time to say goodbye.
It is, man. Sean, tell everybody about where they can find all of your stuff. Of course, I will have it in the show notes, but please, Ori.
Yeah, you better, man.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
He's going to take a kielbasa and hit me over the head with it. Christ's sakes, over here.
Witness Citizen. WITNESS space CITIZEN. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. My phone number is 555 444 3322.
There are more people on UFO Twitter that have my phone number and I speak to on Signal on a regular. You would not believe it. Like I told Katie, she probably thought, oh man, this guy's giving me his number. There's tons and tons of people who have my number, and I love it when I get Signal messages from the UK or Benji or people call me from all over the place, and I just love it, man. It's great. Okay. Dan Warren, all kinds of people I speak with. I tell them my phone line's always if I'm at work. It's not that I'm cool. I love to talk to people. I told you I don't like text. I don't like texting. I do it when I have to, but I love to interact with people and find out what they're thinking and discuss issues, which, I kind of started a podcast for that reason. Katie, tell everybody about where they can find you.
Is it awful that I actually don't know what my Twitter handle is? Like, it's some version of my name.
I'll get it.
It's some version of my name. I hope you can find it. Just look for the really loud.
At Katie's Howland. At Katie S.
Howland. Yeah, my middle initial. Katie S. Howland. Howland. And I'm people.
And her phone number.
Something like I'm Dutch.
Her phone number is 555.
My phone number is absolutely not open to anyone who's become a hybrid. Otherwise, feel free to DM me. And I'm going to be starting my own podcast finally because there's just not enough of us. There's not enough of us. I feel like we need more. But no, I'm going to try to highlight people that don't get highlighted as much, aka women and
that's why you're on here, because we want to highlight people. That's why we always have people on. When we did that roundtable, and Sean will tell you this, there are people on that British invasion that he had no clue who they were, and that was the idea of it. But if I bring on Dan and Vinny and Graham, then I know people are going to know Davey, who no one heard of, or Charlotte, or Max is fairly well known. But that's the Anna Whitty ended up not showing up, but she was we wanted people to know about her. But anyway. I want to say to you, Katie, that I know UAP Experiencer Steph, our new staff member on CAB, who just put out her first episode, would absolutely love to have you on to talk about your experience. To say that she's passionate about experiencers would be a little bit of an understatement, and I'll connect you too, okay?
Great. Sounds good. Yeah. Anytime. Yep. I love chatting too.
Yeah, the other thing... I know I'm not. When I heard you on his show, you were so phenomenal. But yes, when you get your show out, make sure I love it. I love his hat. I was gonna say Elliot Ness, but now
you need someone to talk to you, Sean.
It's one of the Cosby kids. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I need attention. Yeah, I'm totally that kid.
Are you hungry? Do you need to go?
I am hungry.
We're gonna let you go get your tater tots in 1 second. But I just
sounds good.
But I want to and please put some sauce on those wings. But I just want Katie to know when you put your episode out, I'll throw it out on CAB so that more people will see it. So once you get that, I'll give you like a Dropbox. You can throw it in there, and your first episode will go out on CAB to everybody that subscribes to myself, Deb, Stephanie. Shane and Allison, blah, 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 blah. Okay?
You guys are great. Right. I love how helpful UFO Twitter can be.
Yeah. Don't focus on the idiots and the ones who are here to just debunk and cause trouble. Focus on people that are bringing a measure of positivity, like the guy that's sitting in between us right now, and James, and just whomever it is that you get a positive vibe from. That's right, man. That's right. Stay in the circle, baby. Sean, it's been it's been so long. We've never had an opportunity to talk, so I'm really glad that we did it. It won't be the last time. And you were just a load of fun, man. A load of fun. Thank you.
So are you. You brought my spirits up.
Thanks for having us, DJ. It was really fun.
Yep. It's an honor to have both of you. and we'll see you down the road. So for Katie, for Sean, this is DJ, for Calling All Beings, the whole crew who's out tonight. We love you guys. I miss you. Can't wait. You're coming back. Nathan will be back this next week, and then we gonna kick it off again, baby. So for the homies right here, this is DJ saying peace out, one love. We'll see you down the road. I am always wondering what's up around the bend.